This right here is my happy place. This is my most favorite place in the entire world. And in today's video, I'm leaving my happy place. I'm selling my home in the one place in the entire world that I truly love being in, that makes me truly happy. And in today's video, I'm gonna explain why I have to sell my house, why I think it's a good idea even though I am doing it and it's happening in this video. And I am going to show you the process. Like, I bought a house 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago. I demolished it. I built a brand new house for my family, and today I have to sell it for multiple reasons. And I can promise you too, in this video, realtors aren't gonna like this video. And there's gonna be some information for all of you. If you're an investor, if you're looking to buy your first house, if you're holding out, all of it's jam-packed in this video. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Today's a sad day. Let's get going. This is Lake Winnipesaukee. These are the town docks in Meredith, New Hampshire. This is my most favorite place. I boat here. I ride bikes here. My kids love it here. My wife loves it here. We have made more memories here than in any other place in the entire world. And to be quite honest with you, I sleep better here than I do in my own house. Now, I live in southern New Hampshire, and I was raised a boater. I love the lake. I love going out on the water. And we did that as a family, but we live far away. So for a good period of time, we were looking for our vacation home, our lake house, and I found one. And it wasn't what anybody would have wanted to buy. It was a dilapidated old home that I ended up having to tear up and build a brand new house. So my family and myself got a brand new home, walkable to this beautiful, beautiful area where there are weddings, where there are restaurants, where there are activities and town entertainment all the time. Now, the good thing is I bought this as an investment as well, so I didn't really actually have to pay anything out of pocket. It was an investment, and my business paid for a majority of it the whole time, and it worked out really, really well for us. Until today, where I have to now sell my favorite place in the world for multiple reasons. Now, there are a few goods and there are a few bads to all of it, and I promise you, I've learned a lot, and I'm gonna share everything I've learned with you in this video. And I'm also gonna tell you at the end if I made money or if I lost money in this process. Because originally this was supposed to be a flip, like our flip or flop, which was a flop a lot of times, then it turned out to be a really nice place, and today we sold it. So I guess it was the flip. Now, did it cost us money 3 years later, or did we actually lose money? Because I wasn't anticipating on having to tear down an old house and build a brand new house. Let's go over to the property. Now, this right here is the public launch. That is where any Meredith residents can launch their boat in a 90-degree angle. If you've watched any of my videos, you know how difficult that launch is. Probably one of the most difficult launches on the entire lake. But over the years, I've learned to master it. This amazing Italian restaurant right here, just a short bicycle ride from my house. And this right here, the local watering hole, the local tavern where everybody knows your name. And yes, we have a breakfast restaurant, but not one, two breakfast restaurants. And then our cute little main street that you can see in the fall. All of which, just a short bicycle ride from our house. But on the way to my house, look what we have here. A house for sale. And another house being built for sale. And another house that's coming up for sale. And then here's our amazing rec center and our road. So right at the end of our street, we have a rec center for the kids with tons and tons of activities every single week. Behind that, soccer fields, baseball fields, skate parks, playgrounds, picnic areas. So what do we have here? A house for sale. What about right here? Oh, another house for sale. And honestly, I think my neighbor, he's been renovating. I think that house is going up for sale as well. Now, this is my home. This is my most favorite place in the entire world. It didn't always look like this. It originally looked like this. Now, I didn't anticipate on having to build a brand new house. We used the same platform, the same layout, or the same, what do you call it, dimensions of the house and the bump out right there, but we had to tear down the original house. Now, when I bought this property, I was expecting to rehab what was already there. It was not salvageable. So we had to tear it down, which worked to our benefit because we got a brand new house out of it. It was a lot more money than I anticipated, but yes, we got a brand new house out of it. Now, walking in, everything is brand new. Let's turn some lights on. Everything is brand new, from the granite counters to the cabinets to our couch and TVs and storage. Everything is just so great. I love this house. I'll even take you into our master, which is where the magic happens. And we built this property to sleep. There's a spare room here on the first floor. Going up the upstairs, we have a bedroom here that'll sleep 3. We have another bedroom right here that'll sleep 3. And we have another kids room. This is our bonus room that has been amazing. We send our kids up here and they just have an absolute blast. That's a trundle, so that pulls out. Somebody sleeps there. Somebody can sleep there. 2 people sleep there. Somebody can sleep up there. So we have had no shortage of guests stay at this house. I mean, 2-3 families. Labor Day weekends, we do a friends weekend where we have campers in the backyard with all their kids. So all of our friends with all their families that have 3 kids all show up, and this place is just filled with families and kids making memories 2 years in a row. It's amazing. Now, I also bought this property as an investment. So this is purchased through my realty company because we Airbnb it. There was a learning curve to Airbnb, and part of this video is about Airbnb. So it's been difficult to Airbnb this house because, number one, I built it like how I want it. I built it for my family. So it's tough to have strangers sleeping in my bed. It's tough to take everything out of the closets, everything out of the cabinets, have it cleaned meticulously every single weekend that we're not using it so a new guest can come in. And according to taxes, this is an investment property. This is a rental property. So we can only use it when it's not being rented. It's more for rental use than for personal use. And it has to be so for tax purposes. That actually makes it tough because we didn't really anticipate that. We loved having all of our stuff in our closets and never having to pack our bags. We come up and the fridge has food in it and the closets have clothes in it and everything's the way we left it, which is great. But because it's a business, we have to clean this perfectly and everything has to be out. So it turned out to be like a chore. Then every Sunday or every Monday, my wife and I are in here on our hands and knees scrubbing toilets and showers and making it perfect for our guests for the following weekend, which really, it is tough. And then my kids hated that we would make them clean or we'd kick them out of the house to just get out of here while we clean. It turned out to be a lot of work on Sundays and Mondays so we could enjoy our Friday and Saturday. Now there's more to it than that. So I bought this as an investment, which I've said many times, and I went into it with a partnership with my mother that actually worked really well. I really enjoyed it. My parents live nearby, so my mother managed the Airbnb for us. I'm not up here. So if somebody had a complaint or a problem or an issue like pipes froze, no heat worked the first winter because we didn't know that one of the ducts were blocked. So my mother would come out and take care of the property so I don't have to because I live 2 hours away. She'd also manage the Airbnb calendar for me. It was amazing. So it was very little work for me, but it still was frustrating when someone would call me and say, hey, I'm locked out of your house. How do I get in? Or, hey, the pipes are frozen. And then I have to call my mother and say, hey, the pipes are frozen. So it was still annoying. I don't want my vacation home to be a headache for me. And it was turning into work. And I took on a second job. And then I would do a revenue share with my mother. So my mother would get a portion of the proceeds from Airbnb, which was great because she had a side hobby for her. It was keeping her busy. She was making a little bit of extra money. But then once I take into consideration the mortgage, the interest, the property taxes, the utility bill, the propane, keeping the propane on is expensive. All the utilities add up. So after I pay out my mother, Airbnb or VRBO, and then all the utilities and the taxes and all those things, I was renting this place out for $400 a weekend. $400 we'd clear in a weekend, which is good. If you think about it, if I don't use it for 4 weekends, that's $1,600 a month to have this place rented for weekends. It's really cool throughout the summer. But then we don't get to use it in the summer, which is why we built this house. And it's a vacation area, so not a lot of people come up here during the week to use it. So it's used when I would want to use it. And then after Labor Day, this place is a ghost town. There's nobody up here. So unless it's a wedding in the fall, which happens, nobody's coming up here in the winter, and it doesn't snow till January. So we have January and February to rent it for the weekends. There's a fishing derby. There's a hockey tournament. There's not a lot of people that come up and rent. So it was pretty much vacant last year for 9 months, meaning I paid all the utilities, kept the heat on, made sure this place is still up and running for 9 months for us to use it in May. And that cost a lot of money. Or I rent it out for the entire off season at $1,800 a month. And then I have guests in here, ruining our brand new house, which is tough to do as well. It's tough for me to get over a place that I built with my heart because it wasn't just an investment property mentally. I didn't want to come in here and have it be someone else's house. Never mind the damage, just from the guests. And then if I have to evict them, like after 6 months, when I'm ready to use it again and say, hey, sorry, it's time to go, and they don't want to leave, and then I have to go through it again, which is what I did to get the original owners out of this house. It was a lot of work, and I don't want to do it again, and I don't want to have to kick people out of the house. Now, I listed it in the spring. Someone told me they can get me like $490. I'm like, listen, if you can get me $490, sell it, whatever. Actually, it was late winter. They couldn't, so I wasted my time, and they couldn't get anywhere near it. We got an offer of like, whatever. It wasn't even worth it anyway. So I said, you know what? Forget it. I paid the whole winter. It's spring. I want to use this place. I'll sell it Labor Day. So I set it up where we got to rent it out on Airbnb. As much as we weren't using it, we got to, or use it every time it wasn't Airbnb'd. We had a great summer, bought a new boat, had an absolute blast, had friends up here. And then come Labor Day, we were done. And the realtor listed it, and right away, offer comes in. Well, today's closing day. It makes me really sad. They're doing their final walkthrough in the house today, and I just have to prep it. So I have to go through the house today and make sure everything's good and pack up my truck and get the heck out of here. So I have most of my closets emptied. The beds are made. I paid the cleaner to come in and clean everything. Here's my issue. I'm here cleaning this house. I built this house. I painted this house. The realtor is getting paid $21,000 to sell this house. I literally have never met her in person about this house. I called her and I'm like, hey, listen, I want to sell my house. Okay, yeah, we can list it. She came by. The house is staged. It's already brand new. Everything's brand new. So furniture, TV, like lights on, everything's perfect. So she didn't have to stage it. She didn't have to have it remodeled. I built this house and staged it for her to walk in and like take my money. So she comes in and took some photos, or maybe she hired, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. She hired somebody to take photographs. Cool. She listed on the MLS. Within a week, we have an offer. She messages me. I say no. They come back and I say, give them all the furniture, sell it furnished. It's easier for me that way anyway. They say, okay, we negotiated a deal of $437,000. I was asking $440 unfurnished. Now I don't have to move the whole house. It's easier for me that way. So like she came in, maybe hired somebody to take some photos. A different realtor showed the house to their buyers, and then the realtors went back and forth with their buyer and the seller to talk about price. And I think she's done. Like she has done the whole process, because now I'm dealing with the title company. So it's not the realtor anymore. It's now the title company's taking care of the paperwork and making sure all the legalities of it are being done. So what is the realtor actually doing besides being a middleman, which I don't even really need? If I could list on the MLS and have somebody else show it for me, like why wouldn't I just do that? I should have. Not to mention, the grand total, are you ready for this? The grand total to sell this house is $21,000 plus. Like I paid $21,000 to sell a brand new house to somebody that was gonna, like they're in the market to buy. So how hard is it you're not convincing someone to buy a brand new house. It's a brand new house and it's furnished. It's easy. So what's odd is I also pay the buyer's realtor. So why am I, the seller, paying a buyer's realtor? Why are the buyers not paying a realtor to buy a house? It's just odd. Like the buyer's realtor is doing a service for the buyer, not for me. So I paid $8,700 to the buyer's realtor and $11,000 plus, like $11,800 to my seller's realtor, to my realtor. $21,000. Like that is a crazy amount of money. What work did they do? Literally no physical work. They did zero physical work.
A few minutes later.
You know what I don't really understand is what, aside from like taking photos and putting it on the MLS, what do realtors actually do? Because the attorney handles all the title and all the closing. I'm here like vacuuming, prepping this house, turning the lights on, turning the TVs on for the final walkthrough to make sure it's presentable and there's no problems. The realtor is going to be here at 11:30 with the buyers. Like she didn't show up early and turn the lights on. She didn't show up early and bake cookies or anything to make it smell good. What am I paying 5%, $12,000 for? I just don't get it. I mean, I was just down on my hands and knees making sure that all the lines in the corners are cleaned up and that the lines on the carpets are good. I'm the one that arranged and paid for the cleaners to come in and clean the house after we were out, so it's clean for the new buyers. Like, I did all those things. What does the realtor actually do? Like, look at this room. I turned the TV on. I made the beds to make sure that this house is presentable and perfect for when the photographer came and now when the buyers show up. This is me doing these things. All right, the buyers are here. I'm finished up. Everything's on, everything's staged, and I'm gonna get out of here. So I'm not interfering with them because I'm sure they don't want me here. And that's it. From a demolished house to a brand new house that I love to being staged. They're coming in the front. I'm gonna go out the back Now I sell cars, and I sell cars on consignment. So if, like, let's say you, for example, you want to sell your car, you want me to sell your car. So you come to me and you say, Craig, I don't want to sell my car. I don't have the time to sell my car. Would you be willing to sell my car? So I look at it, I do an evaluation, I do an appraisal. I look at it and I say, yeah, but you know what, honestly, it needs tires and it needs brakes. I have to do an inspection on it. We have to have it detailed. It's going to cost minimum $1,300. We do it in-house, we'll do it all for you. So now I'm charging you to do it, but I'm doing it. You don't have to do it. And I'm gonna have it detailed, and then I'm gonna market it, and I'm gonna list it, and I'm gonna sell it to somebody. I'm gonna find a buyer. The buyer's gonna come to me, sign the paperwork, pay me directly, sign all the paperwork with me directly, and then I'm gonna give you a check for your proceeds minus 10%. So I take 10% of the sale. Now, me personally, that's a lot of work. I'm the one that details the car. I'm the one that does the repairs on the car. I'm the one that has to take it to an inspection station and make sure it's inspected. I do all these things personally. Then you as a buyer come to me, you sign the paperwork with me, and there's not multiple people being used and hired for this whole venture. I'm the one making the car better to sell, because I'm not going to sell a dirty car. I'm not going to sell an old car. If it needs work, I'm going to sell it the best it can be. That way we can sell it. Now use that example in this house. If I buy a flip, like a dirty, nasty old house, I don't call a realtor and say, hey, listen, I'm going to hire you to clean the entire house and then try to sell it. No, I have to do all the hard work myself. I have to do all the hard work. Where that person that owned that car, I would have said, okay, you do tires, you do brakes, you have it detailed, and then I'll try to sell it. And if somebody brings their buyer to me, I'll give them a little bit as well from your proceeds. It just doesn't make any sense. The whole realtor system is backwards, and I know realtors are going to hate that, but tell me, what do you do? What do you do? Let's go inside. All right, so I just asked, what do you do? I was on my hands and knees vacuuming the house for the walkthrough, okay? Not the realtor. I came in, staged everything, made everything smell good, made all the lights on. Not the realtor. And maybe they would do that, but I did it because they didn't. What do you do? Please tell me.
A few minutes later.
So the buyers just did a final walkthrough, and there's some stuff out back. They had originally asked me to remove stuff along the fence, so I paid somebody to get rid of all the debris along the fence, and I kept some wood out back. We used it for fire pits. So there's wood out back that the buyers didn't like, so mandatory, I have to remove it. So I'm going to pay to have it removed. Otherwise, I don't think the deal would happen. So the realtors both said, can you move it for us? Can you find somebody to move it? So I either physically, manually move all the wood behind the shed, or I pay out of my pocket to have all the wood moved, which is, I guess, fair. Yeah, that's fine. But I have to organize somebody to do it. I have to schedule them to come here, make sure it was done. As a seller, if I was selling a car and the buyers had some demands, I'd make sure it was done. I wouldn't call the owner of the car and say, hey, come back here and clean the car. Hey, come back here and wash and wax the car. The buyers want it that way. I wouldn't. That's just not how it's done. But in a realtor's world, oh, the buyers want you to move all the wood. Come back to your property I'm selling for you and move or pay for all the wood to be moved. It's just backwards to me. Well, I don't always make the best financial decisions. I mean, I've never really hurt myself, but sometimes I don't do things that are too smart. You know my boat saga. If you've been following my channel, you know the boat saga. Well, Labor Day weekend, I bought a brand new boat, a 2024 boat, and I bought it near cost. Somebody really, really hooked me up. Rockingham Boat, thank you so much for Rockingham Boat. We have a brand new tri-tune with a tower. The thing's amazing. It is unreal. Sadly, I bought it Labor Day weekend, listed my house the week after Labor Day weekend, sold it. So now I have a brand new boat with no place to put it. So today we're gonna have to take it home and store it. So when I say bad financial decisions, that boat is with interest, $600 plus a month. So if I bought it in Labor Day, we're talking 9 months times 6, so $6,000, $7,200 ish that I'm going to pay in principal and interest, mostly interest for this boat. Not to mention I added for insurance, I added for registration. I'm going to have to winterize it for $1,300-ish. So it really wasn't a great decision because we've only used it twice this year. I could have bought it at the boat show in the spring and then had it, I don't know, whatever. I love it. I love it. And I'm going to love it next year, and my kids are going to love it. We just now need to find a place to use it. All right, walkthrough is done. I'm here, so I got to talk to the owners and explain how propane works, answer questions about the house, explain benefits of the town, all those things. They seemed good with it. Now I'm going to close do the documentation, and that's it. Right behind me, one of my neighbors is up for sale now too with a 2-car garage. So the market's changing, things are turning. I mean, there's, I think, 2 houses for sale in this neighborhood, and not including mine. And that wasn't a thing for the past few years. And in a neighborhood like this, I don't think it's that people are in trouble. I think people might be cashing out, like if it's a second home or they want to retire and move away. That is probably more realistic. And I think, I've always said that I think this is an up and coming street neighborhood. The location's amazing, and I have the rec building right here. So my kids ride their bikes to the rec building, play basketball, go to the sports parks, playground, whatever, like in the neighborhood we bought in. As I say that out loud, I'm kind of regretting my decision to go close.
A few minutes later.
45 minutes later, I am done, and I was reassured of a couple things. So I walked into the closing nervous, like not nervous that I'm going to sell the house, but nervous, like sad. Actually, that's the word. Sad that I'm closing on the house. I love the place, and I love the area, and I don't want to let it go. But as I was closing, I read every single document, which drives people nuts. I read every word, and I'm just discussing things. And I said, hey, if you come across something else, let me know. What do you want to spend? I don't know. I don't want to mortgage anything because I don't want an 8% loan. So if you find something this price range or less, I just buy it outright. And she goes, oh, well, her and another agent that were in the office. Oh, well, the opportunities are coming. We're seeing more and more listings. We're also getting foreclosure lists now. And there were a lot of people that bought at the wrong time that own properties that are kind of holding, and they bought with adjustable rate mortgages, meaning eventually the mortgage rate's going to change. So if they bought it at 3% 5 years, it's going to adjust in 5 years, and they're at that 5-year mark now for a lot of people, or 3-year mark. So when those interest rates change, their bubble bursts, and they're not going to be able to afford that house, and they have to liquidate. So on the way here, we saw 2 houses for sale in my neighborhood. The realtor told me she's seeing more foreclosures, more houses for sale, and she's seeing adjustable rates coming due soon. So add all those things together, and it's like a chemistry mixture for an explosion, which is what happened in 2008. I'm not saying we're going to have a housing explosion, like negative explosion like we did in 2008, but something is bound to happen. And back then, when I lived through it, and a lot of people haven't lived through it yet. When I was buying my first house, I was in my 20s looking, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. How does anybody afford a 2-bedroom, 1-bath for this much money? It doesn't make sense. And people were doing it, and people were buying, and then all of a sudden one day, just like boom, everything changed. And all those things that I said, this doesn't make sense. I can't afford to buy a house like this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. The market crashed. That's what happened, because it didn't make sense. And the bank said, okay, let it go. Just buy it now and refinance later. Okay, so here's what's happening right now, and I'm going to explain it to you. Realtors are saying, oh, buy it at the 8%. No problem. Refinance when the rates come down next year, because we're expecting rates to come down next year, right? Well, this is what happened in 2008 when everybody got the adjustable rate mortgage, the ARM. You buy now at $400,000 at 8%. Oh, okay, next year I'll refinance. Prices always go up. No, they don't. They don't always go up. So when nobody can afford to buy houses anymore because the prices are so high and the interest rates are so high, the prices come down. When there's more houses on the market, like we just saw, the prices come down. And when the prices come down and you need to refinance, the mortgage company looks at your house and says, hey, your house isn't worth $400, it's worth $300 now. We can't refinance your loan unless you want to put a significant amount of money down because you have no more equity in your house. That's what happened. Everybody got in trouble because everybody said, oh, refinance later, refinance in 5 years, which they're saying right now. Oh, buy it now, pay all the money, and refinance next year, because next year there's going to be more people that want to buy houses when the interest rates are lower. Yeah, but so will home prices, and then you're going to be stuck with it. All right, so I'm just driving through, and like, as I drive through, this Hannaford's, that Aubuchon, and this is my favorite restaurant right here, Surfside. It's like my lunch restaurant. We ride our bikes here and have a beer and a burger, or my kids go grocery shopping and pick out stuff, or the movie theater is right here as well. That's the movie theater. Like, I literally took my boat off the water and dropped my kids off, and they went to the movie theater. And that's really a bummer for me. But I can't buy with my heart. I need to be buying things like financially intelligent. I need to be fiscally intelligent when I'm purchasing things and selling things. You can't time the market. You can't time stocks. But I can kind of see what's going on. So that's it. This 3-year housecapade, it was amazing. We made some great memories, had so much fun with my family. It was incredible. I love it, but I'm gonna miss it. And I honestly think I made a great decision. I don't know where the world is gonna be in another year. I'm liquidating everything. I sold the other boat. I sold the house. I sold a bunch of my cars. I don't need stuff. I need cash to hang on to for when the world does go. I mean, we have 2 world wars. Like, we have 2 wars going on right now. Interest rates are at an all-time high. Houses that are an all-time high. Nothing makes sense. So I'd rather be cash rich than house poor, house rich, whatever, and have the money just sitting waiting. And then I'm going to seize the carp, and I'm going to take advantage when I can. I'm going to have all the money sitting there waiting for the right opportunity, and then I pounce, and it's going to pay off. Now, I know this was a long vlog of just me talking forever, so I appreciate you sitting by my side, and I'm doing some jump cuts back and forth from my shop to here and explaining what happened, why we had to sell this place. If this video was at all informative, please hit the thumbs up. Educational, just like interesting, entertaining, whatever. Thumbs ups are appreciated. If you like anything auto related, the subscribe button and the bell gets notifications every time we make a new video. This was fun. I love it. But time to move on to the next adventure. There's always something else. So for now, that's it. Off to the next adventure. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Adios.